Okay guys, in this video we're going to be talking about 1 meal a day for weight loss versus 3 meals a day for weight loss. Now, I'm Steve and I've lost over 100 pounds and gone from this to this. And along that journey I've used both of those in order to get those results. But there are some positive and negative aspects to both of them. So I'm hopefully going to be clearing up some of them muddy waters for you so you can make the best decision for you. So let's get into it. Let's discuss 1 meal a day for weight loss versus 3 meals a day for weight loss. I'm Steve, this is Life at the Whitehouse. Let's get into it. Okay guys, now even though choosing one of these methods is going to be really important, what is more important is what you are actually eating. Now, I've done a whole video on what I ate to get this result, and what I'm going to do is I'll link it up above here, I'll link it down in the description, and I'll also link it at the end of the video. So at the end of the video you'll have this information, you'll go and watch that video and you'll know when to eat and you'll know what to eat to hopefully achieve a similar sort of result to what I did. So I'm just giving you as much information as I can to hopefully help you along your weight loss journey. Now let's get into 1 meal a day versus 3 meals a day. Okay guys, now when looking at this 1 meal a day versus 3 meals a day, I think it's best to accompany it with intermittent fasting. Now for those of you who don't know, I'm just going to briefly explain what intermittent fasting is and then we'll get on with the rest of the video. Okay, so with intermittent fasting you have an eating window and you have a fasting window. And terms you'll commonly hear are things like 16 and 8, 20 and 4 or OMAD. And a 16 and 8 will mean that you will fast for 16 hours of the day and you'll have an 8-hour eating window. So for example, you can go from 12 midday until 8 PM and use them 8 hours, and that can be your eating window. And then from 8 PM until 12 midday the next day, you'll fast. And the similar thing can be for a 20 and 4, where you have a 4-hour eating window and a 20-hour fast. And OMAD, which is 1 meal a day, which we're going to be discussing now, is exactly what it says on the tin, is 1 meal a day. And it's broken down like that because 16 and 8 is 24, 20 plus 4 is 24, so it's just how you're breaking up the 24 hours within the day. Okay guys, pros and cons of both aspects of 1 meal versus 3 meals. So when we fast, our insulin levels drop, and when our insulin levels are low, that allows us to gain access to our stored body fat and use that as energy, which is great. So when you're eating 1 meal a day and you're fasting for the majority of the day, your insulin levels will be incredibly low and you'll have a better chance of burning more fat. And that is one of the main benefits of 1 meal a day. You'll be burning a lot of fat on that way of eating, whereas with 16 and 8 you'll have a 16-hour fast, which is fantastic, but you're maybe not getting as much benefit out of it as you would with 1 meal a day. Okay, another positive of 1 meal a day is something that I love, is I really like a big meal. And of course when you're eating 1 meal a day and all your calories are coming from that one meal, when you sit down to eat you are going to have a lot of food to get through, and sometimes you can struggle with 1 meal a day, and we'll discuss that later in the video. But one of the things that can maybe help you get through it is knowing that when you do sit down to eat, you are gonna eat. It's gonna be a big meal and it's gonna be piled on, but remember to eat smart. That's the most important thing. It can't just be stacked with takeaways. That kind of defeats what you're trying to do there. But it is going to be a big meal, and sometimes that can be a bonus for people, and that can sometimes mean the difference between doing this and doing 3 meals a day. If you love that really big meal, 1 meal a day might just be the answer for you. Okay guys, what are the pros of 3 meals a day for weight loss? So it's fantastic for beginners. I think if you're trying intermittent fasting and you want somewhere to start with this. And although, I mean, you can start with a 12 and 12, but I think that's what most people do, and I've mentioned this in previous videos, where they will stop eating at 8 PM when they finish their dinner, and then they won't eat again until 8 AM, and that is a 12-hour fast. So you'll finish at 8 PM and you'll eat again at 8 AM as your breakfast. But it does have some benefits. So it stops you from snacking after your last big meal of the day, so just before you go to bed, it sort of eliminates that, so you can start to learn the process a little bit. So with the 16 and 8, if you have the majority of your fast over the time when you're sleeping, and then you just push your breakfast back a few hours, not skipping your breakfast, you're just pushing it back a few hours, you're there. You're at your 16 and 8, you're at your 16-hour fast, and then you're opening up your 8-hour eating window where you can get 3 good sized meals in within that time. So that's why I think it's fantastic for beginners and a great place to start, is because if you just push your breakfast back a couple of hours and you get the majority of your fast in the time that you're sleeping, then you're there with your 16 and 8. Okay, another great pro of the 3 meals a day is that it can be used to be a bit of a springboard into other things. And what we mean by this is, as soon as you can get that down, that 16 and 8, you can get that down consistently, you can then progress through to a 20 and 4 and 1 meal a day. But this can be used to springboard to them things. But if you're not comfortable with doing that, then you can always go back to the 16 and 8. It's fantastic as what it is on its own. It's really, really good. But if you're looking at doing things, I wouldn't say jump straight into it. Always start with the 16 and 8 and then slowly move up towards what you want to do. And if you find it's not for you, you can always move back. So that's why it's just a great platform to go on and do a few more things with it. So with 3 meals a day, it is a lot more social. So you'll have an opportunity there to eat with friends, maybe go out with friends. I mean, in this day and age, you can't really do that. So maybe in a few months' time, you'll be able to do that. But with 3 meals a day, if some of your friends are going out to eat, which hopefully they will do in a few months' time when we put all this behind us, then you're able to do that. But with 1 meal a day, it's a bit restrictive as to when you can eat, obviously, so it's not as social. Okay, and finally, the final pro for the 3 meals a day, and when you have an 8-hour eating window, which is quite big, you can be kind of flexible within them 8 hours. So one day, if you fancied eating a little bit earlier, say at 12 midday, as soon as your eating window opens, then you can. Or if the next day you feel like not eating for a couple of hours after your eating window opens, then you can push it later, and you can just eat whenever in that time. And it's not as restrictive. You're a little bit more flexible with 3 meals a day as you are with 1 meal a day, because if you do it with a 16 and 8, you have a larger eating window and you've got more time to get them in, and you can choose exactly when you have that, as opposed to just a 1 meal a day. Okay guys, so what would I recommend? What helped me the most when I was making this transformation? I think in the beginning, I would always recommend a 16 and 8 and then progress from there. Don't just jump into the deep end. I've spoken about this in previous videos with 1 meal a day. Always progress up to that point. Otherwise, if you do it and you're not ready to do it, you're just going to give up on everything, eat everything in the cupboards, and it's going to be an absolute nightmare. So start with the 16 and 8 and then just progress up towards it. 1 meal a day is phenomenally effective at burning stored body fat. It's fantastic. And if you feel you can do that, and having that larger meal like we spoke about earlier is a huge motivation for you, then that might be the way to go. And I have tried it and I've mixed and matched. So you don't have to stick to one thing, but try to be as consistent as you possibly can be with it. If you think that doing OMAD is definitely not for you, and that's just going to take you completely out of it, and you're going to be eating round the clock, you know, like I used to when I was this big, then don't do it. Just stick with your 16 and 8. But 1 meal a day is really, really effective for burning stored body fat, and 16 and 8 isn't quite as effective in that regard. What I do now is probably a 16 and 8, because I find it's just better for me. I'm not just concentrating on the 1 meal a day. I can eat throughout the day within them 8 hours, and yeah, that's comfortable for me. That's what I like to do. I can maintain results there. It's really, really good. So if you're a beginner, try that, stick with it, be consistent, and then when you're ready, you can move on to a 20 and 4, or even just push it a little bit and go to an 18 and 6, and then move to a 24, and then to your 1 meal a day, and just find what works best for you. I would start with a 16 and 8, and if that's fine and works for you, just stick with that. Consistency is going to be key. But when all that is said and done, the most important thing, if you're trying to lose weight, is to be in a calorie deficit. Now what I mean by this is, if say you have 2,500 calories, and this is the amount of calories that you need to maintain your body weight, and you have 2,000 calories, you're going to lose a little bit of weight. The same can be said if you have 3,000 calories, you're going to gain a bit of weight. And it doesn't matter when you're eating. If you're not in a small deficit, then you're not going to be losing weight. Don't go into a crazy deficit. That's nuts, like 1,000 calories a day. Even 500 is a little extreme, so maybe go 200 or 300 calories to start off with, just to start that scale moving, start losing a little bit of weight. But that is going to be the most important factor. It doesn't matter if you're having 1 meal a day or 3, if you're not in a deficit, then you're not going to be losing weight. So keep that in mind when choosing 1 meal a day or 3 meals a day. That's the most important thing. Come in a slight deficit. If you can do 1 meal a day in a slight deficit, fantastic, you're going to be burning no end of fat. But if that's not for you, 16 and 8, breaking the meals up and still coming into a slight deficit, you're still going to have incredible results. And you know, I can attest to that. It's fantastic. So it's really dependent on you and what you think is going to be best for you. I would say try them all. Start with the 16 and 8, slowly move up to 1 meal a day, and if it's not for you, just come back to your 16 and 8. And as long as you do that consistently and you eat smart, you're going to have incredible results. Okay guys, that's the video. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. That's 1 meal a day for weight loss versus 3 meals a day for weight loss. All done. Hopefully you've got the information now to go and make a decision that's best for you. And if you want to know what I was eating, not just when I was eating, I'll link that in the description. It's also linked above somewhere here, and I'll link it right at the end of the video in one of those end cards if you want to go and watch that next. But I'm Steve, this has been Life with the Whitehouse. Beware the donut goblin, and I'll see you again in the next one. Cheers guys.
Hi guys, thanks so much for watching the video. If you did like it, please do drop a thumbs up down below. If you want to see more videos, click on the link on the left hand side, and if you've got any questions for me, leave them down there in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But apart from that, remember to subscribe, and I'll see you again next time.